In this lesson, let's talk about targeting chord tones. And the best place to start with this is just simply starting with the root of whatever chord you're trying to work from. So in this case, we're going to start with A minor, and of course we're going to begin with the A minor pentatonic scale. So assuming that you know all 5 patterns of the A minor pentatonic scale, we're going to go through and work on finding the root in each one of those positions and then different ways you can connect them. So just starting with the lowest pattern in A minor, you end up with 3 A's. There's an A here, there's an A here, and there's an A here. So that's the 5th fret on the 6th string, 2nd fret on the 3rd string, and then the 5th fret on the 1st string. Of course, these 2 notes are the same, just on the two strings. So now, what we want to do is work through each one of these and play important notes around that root note to get yourself in and out of phrases. So for example, if you started below the root, and then so that's G to A, go above the root, and then go back to it. Here's a really great exercise. Below it, the root note, above it, back to the root note. This can be done in many different places. So here's below it, root note, next pentatonic scale tone above it, and then back down, and then again, and this can be moved anywhere. So if we went here, for example, and then this one would be the same, of course, or this would be in the 5th position, the home pattern, and then from here we would end up with G, A, C, A, and then G, A, C, A. This is going to be the exercise. You want to work through this. So G, A, C, A, and then G, A, C, A. Now, to find all these notes, of course, there's a few different ways of doing this, but at the end of the day, you just want to know where the notes are in each one of these scale patterns. So you could literally practice G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, so on and so forth. But you could also take these licks like this and work through them in each position and practice them. So for example, I have a track here. This is just A minor, over and over and over again, just one A minor chord. So you could just practice playing each one of these as licks, like, or here. It's definitely more fun to come up with different phrases around those 3 notes and work that way, because obviously playing the same phrase over and over again does get a little boring. But and then again here. Everything from here is going to be an octave up. So we get, or, it's all the same notes though. So notice something that I'm naturally doing, which is sometimes I'm ending on that root note and sometimes I'm not, to come up with different phrases. So going, and then, that creates tension, makes your ear want to push back to the root. This is a very important aspect. So again, a little more of this. Right now I'm working in each box, but what you could do is take this across one string. So it's pretty low down there. I'm just having fun. You get the idea that looking at it this way or viewing it this way and not only vertically is really important and really helpful. Now, from here, once you get comfortable with targeting just the root note, the next thing you want to do is work your way out from there. Now, we've already added the G, which is the flat 7th against A, and then the C, which is the minor 3rd against A, because you have 4 notes in an A minor 7 chord. You have G, C, you have A, C, E, G, E, C, and A. Those are the 4 notes. And eventually you want to be able to play this anywhere as well. That's maybe a whole separate lesson. But if we just target each one of those notes and work around the A, this is going to help you to build tension and resolution with your phrase ideas. So again, here's an A, here's C, here's E, put the G down here, here's E. So right there we have E, G, and then the A. There's a C. Now I'm playing with your ear a little bit there and bending that C. You can even bend to the A from a half step below or a whole step below. Take it up here. Here's your E. There's another G an octave up. When I play it that way, it starts to sound just like a regular arpeggio. But so super useful because you're building tension and resolution. Now moving that up more. That kind of gives your ear a break of just playing the pentatonic scale. But notice I'm ending the phrase on the C and the A, which is the minor 3rd and the root. So going like... targeting those notes. So starting with the root is a really good place to start. The next thing you want to do is work this out where the chords start to change. Obviously just playing on one chord doesn't give you a lot of possibilities, but it's really good as an exercise and really good to navigate and find your notes across the fretboard. If we go to another track, maybe just a simple minor blues. So this is going to go A minor, D minor, and E, but this has an F major in it as well because it's like a B.B. King style blues. So this is A. If we target all the A's here. Now it just goes to the D chord right here, D minor 7. So now I'm going outside of the pentatonic scale to play that F that's in the D minor chord. So here's an F chord to E, back to A. A minor, there's an E chord right there. So there's your A, G, and C right there, targeting that. Now here comes the D minor chord. So notice how when it goes back to the A, I skip the F. So the way I'm playing this is I'm focusing on the notes that are in each one of the chords. Really, to begin, you should just focus on the root notes, which will probably be the most helpful thing. Let's do a run through of that. Here's the F chord, here's the E7 chord, back to A minor. We'll let it come back around. Here's the E7 again. So check it out, A. Here's the D. You want to be able to recognize those changes and play the right notes. Here's A. Here's the F. Here's E. Back to A. Then you want to start working your way out from there, which is what I was playing before. Now I'm anticipating that D, bending it up to the E, and then releasing it to the D, going back to A. Here's an F. Here's E. So I'll continue with this, focusing on just the roots. Notice how I'm releasing it back to the A when the chord moves. Here's the F chord again. Here's the E. Now I'm tricking you there a little bit, bending the B up to the pitch of C. Here's the F. Here's your F right here. So I'm slowly working my way out to make the harmony more complex, but notice how I'm basing all of this around the pentatonic scale and then adding in that F note when it's appropriate for when it's on the right chord, because you can play F over the D minor chord, and you obviously want to play F on the F chord itself. Now, there's a lot of different concepts and a lot of different ways to approach each one of these chords. We could go down the road of playing arpeggios on each one of these. There's a whole bunch of different topics, but the focus of this lesson is just finding the most important notes in each one of the chords and working on that based around the pentatonic scale to start with, and then working in the notes from, in this case, the natural minor scale from there. So the next step to this would be following a progression where the chords move a little bit more. So this chord progression is going to be A minor to E minor to G to D for one section, and then it's going to change sections, and it's going to go A minor, E minor, and D. I'm going to focus on just the roots. There's E. There's G. There's the D chord. E minor. There's the D. A minor. E minor. G. D chord. And use the sort of single string going across the fretboard idea to do the same sort of thing. So here's D, A, E, G, D, A, E, outside of following strictly just the root notes of the changes. Notice how I'm really following the changes, and that sounds like I'm really in the music, and that's also forcing me to simplify. So when I cut away from that and just play licks in the pentatonic scale, then those really stand out and have a lot of meaning. So now I'm going to put these tracks in the description of this video. And again, I have a whole bunch of exercises on the site that will help you to be better at the pentatonic scales, better at learning your fretboard, and just improving your playing overall. I invite you to go check out the site, join the site, practice with it. It'll be really helpful for you. And then you can apply some of these techniques as well as practicing your technique and practicing with the site to help you improve on all this stuff. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you at the next one.